Previewing Week 14 in college football here at SBR Forum Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We're talking right now with trending guest Jon Lee, college football handicapper from AccuScore.com, who's given us great reads on college football games all season long. Jon, thanks for being here once again.
Good to be here again.
All right, the game you chose this week is Central Florida-Tulsa, the Conference USA title game. And, I'm interested to see where you see value on this line because these two teams played a couple weeks ago in Tulsa. Tulsa won by 2, and here they are again at Tulsa. And the line is Tulsa minus 1.5. Standard line, what you would expect, exactly what the final score was a few weeks ago. What do you like here?
Well, I like Central Florida in the rematch. Our simulations have Central Florida winning 56% of the time and covering about 58% of the time, that extra 1.5 play. UCF has been better offensively in conference play. They are in the more difficult division in the CSUA in the East, having to play the other quality team in the conference, East Carolina, which UCF ended up beating by 20. If you look at a couple of the common opponents between these two teams, Tulsa has stayed, such as UAB or Marshall. Tulsa had stayed about one score within those teams, but Central Florida blew them out. I think their game a couple of weeks ago against Tulsa was a little bit of a fluke. Their quarterback, Blake Bortles, only completed 13 of 31 passes. He's been a very accurate passer in every other game this season, including against Ohio State, completing about 2/3 of his passes. He hasn't thrown a pick. He's actually only thrown 2 picks since the end of September. So I think there was a little bit of a extenuating circumstance the last game. I think Central Florida will find a little bit more maybe tweaking just to get to squeak out that win this time.
All right, well, what do you make of Tulsa's last game against SMU where they completely outgained them, but because of some fluky plays, wound up losing? I mean, if they had just outgained them and won, as you would expect them to, what do you think this line would be? It probably wouldn't be 1.5, would it?
No, it'd probably be a couple points more, but Tulsa had already locked up their division and kind of, I guess, had their focus on this week instead of last week. They lost that game by making mistakes and turning the ball over, which they have been more prone to do than Central Florida. Central Florida has played very cleanly. They're one of the best teams in NCAA football in turnover margin. I think that's a big factor here with Tulsa. Tulsa really doesn't rely on their offense to win games. It's really their defense. Their defense is the best in the conference, but UCF is a more balanced team, I think, and they are better with those turnovers. So that's why I like the Knights here.
All right. Well, it's an interesting game, interesting line. Looks like a tough line to me, but I do trust you implicitly. Jon Lee from AccuScore.com, based on your record with us all year long. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you again next week.